Welcome to the 100-mile real-world mile-per-gallon test. This week we've got the 2024 Chevy Colorado Z71, and we're going to test the mile per gallon on it. It's supposed to be 20 miles per gallon average. We're going to check that out today, but let's take a quick look at this first, and then we'll head to the gas station. This paint color is beautiful. It is radiant red tint coat, and this also has the 2.7 liter inline 4 turbo max engine, putting out about 320 horsepower. I'll have to check the numbers on that, but this is the Z71 trim package. Very nice truck, beautiful truck. I love the design of the new Colorados. They redesigned this last year. Take a look at the tailgate. Does have a lowering assist to it, so that's nice. I did just notice this has a yardstick on here, so that's cool. Do have a spray-in bed liner or type of bed liner in here. No fancy things in here. You just got some tie downs up there and back here. Over here you do have some power, so that's good. You got a 120. All right, that's about it. It is 5.5 foot bed. So you get a 5.5 foot bed on this. This does have the side steps in the bumper. All right, take a look at the back. And it looks like it might be a little tight back here, but we'll go over that in the full review that is on the channel right now. So make sure you guys check that out. You do have some vents in here and some USB-C and A plugs. I do like that they have this red leather patching on here. That's pretty cool. And the stitching on the headrests. It's a nice touch. Go up to the front. So the seats in here also have the leather with the red stitching on here. These are heated and ventilated seats. There's the nice screen in the front. You got dual screens, both digital. Okay, there's your center console. That is about it on this truck. That's all I'm going to show you guys about this truck. Make sure you watch the full review that's on the channel right now. Now we're gonna go to the gas station and get filled up, and then I'll fill you in on the parameters of the test as we drive. Okay, we are at the gas station and we are going to get this thing filled up. Just so you guys can see, there is no recommended or required octane here, which means that we can use 87, and that is what most people will use, so that's what we are going to use also. Okay, we're gonna get started here in just a second. Just in case you're curious, we've got 494 for 91, 414 for 89, and 324 for 87 here in Illinois. Okay, let's get started. 87. We have driven this a couple days, so it's going to take a little bit to get this filled up. Okay, there it is, 8.9. So we have driven this about 150 to 160 miles so far. So yeah, 8.9 gallons went in. My guess is gonna be, let's say 6.5 later. All right, that's it, we're filled up. Let's get things reset and get started. Okay, so on this one, we're gonna go into vehicle status, and there is the trip information right there. We've just started this. We're going to reset trip 1 and trip 2. Since they are both displayed together, I didn't want anybody to have any confusion. So the only thing that might be a little off is this one, because it just resets itself automatically for the trip. And then this I just now reset. So it's gonna be off just slightly, but basically will be the same. You can also see it in the instrument cluster right here. 00, everything's zeroed out, but we'll keep an eye on this one over here because it's easier to see. Okay, we're gonna take off. We're gonna be heading to our first town, and on the way, I'm gonna give you parameters of the test, and every test that we do is exactly the same. and then I'll let you know where we're sitting at as we enter that next town. Okay, the parameters of this test are very, very simple. So to start off with, we go to the gas station, we get filled up with gas. After that, we drive 100 miles. We drive 50 miles in one direction, we turn around, drive 50 miles in the exact opposite direction. During that trip, we're going to drive through 2 towns on the front half and those same 2 towns in the back half. Both of those towns, we're going to make loops through those towns. So we hit stoplights, stop signs, a little bit of traffic, kind of normal type driving. And then we'll get up on the interstate. On the interstate, we're going to drive about 10 miles or so, turn around, come back, and we'll start that trip back to the gas station. Now, there's a few settings that we are going to use, and these are just normal settings. So the vehicle is set in its normal setting. It's not set in eco, it's not set in sport. In this one's case, this is set on 2-wheel drive. So it is set as rear-wheel drive because that's how you're going to drive this truck most of the time. You do have an automatic all-wheel drive is available that you would use, if you're it gets winter time and there's some snow or it could be a little slick, you want to use that all-wheel drive. But for normal driving, everyday driving, you're going to be in 2-wheel drive. So that's how we have this set. The climate inside the cabin is going to be set between 68 and 72. On this truck, I have it at 72 because this air conditioning is ice cold and I'm almost too cold at 72. So, but this is what the parameters of the test. I just have to, point the vents away from me. We also drive 5 miles per hour over the speed limit because the normal and the average for most people is around 5 miles per hour over the speed limit. So we're at 60 miles an hour on the highway, we're at 75 miles per hour on the interstate, and then we're about anywhere between 35 and 50 in town. Temperature today is about 88 degrees. There is some wind coming out of the south that will give a little bit of a headwind on part of the trip and tailwind on the other part of the trip, but the main part of it will be blowing on the side of the vehicle more than the front or the rear. So no issues there. The reason we do a loop is so that we negate the weather conditions and the terrain, so that every car is ran the exact same way with the same baseline. So that is what we're looking at. So we are getting ready to come into our first town, and I probably forgot something in that list, but I will let you know later if I did. So heading into town now, I'm going to give you an update on where we're at right now. Right, we are in our first town. So far, we are at 4.6 miles and 25.5 miles per gallon, which makes sense. It's 23 on the highway, and we're doing a little bit better than that so far, but we did have the wind kind of blowing on the back of us there at the beginning. So that's where we're sitting at. We're going to make a loop through this town, and I will update you after that loop and we get headed back out on the highway. So we're back out on the highway after making the loop through town. Right now we are at 8.4 miles and 22.8 miles per gallon. So went down a little bit from that 25, but we're back out on the highway. We are driving into the wind right now, so we may see that stay the same somewhere in that vicinity. I doubt we'll see it drop, but we're going to be heading to our next town. Right, we are coming into town now, and so far we are at 29.1 miles, 24.7 miles per gallon. So it's doing really, really well so far in this first half of the trip. But we are gonna make a loop through this town also, and I will update you after that loop before we get up on the interstate. All right, we made that loop through town, and we're getting ready to get up onto the interstate. So far, we are at 36.2 miles and 23.6 miles per gallon. So this thing is doing great. We're above or right around the highway mileage. And this is going to be our entrance onto the interstate, which we get to follow this brand new Santa Fe, the redesigned Santa Fe. And it is that matte bronze. That's pretty nice, actually. All right. Everybody's just taking their time. There's a Dodge Charger up there that's just taking his time getting around this corner. So I think he's probably going to gun it when he gets up here because he wants to slow everybody up and make himself look good. Some people do that, and now we're all trying to get on, and we got cars coming, so here we go. Woo! This thing, wow, this thing just took off. There we go. All right, we get locked in here at 75. We're good. Okay, so far after all of that, we are looking at 37.2 miles and 22.7 miles per gallon. Okay, we're gonna make about a 10-mile trip on the interstate here, and then we're gonna turn around. And once we get to that turnaround point, I will update you where we're at. We're coming up on our exit off of the interstate. We're coming up on our exit off the interstate right now. 49.8 miles and 22.4 miles per gallon. So it has went down slightly, but we're getting off now and going to turn around and head back on the return trip. So let's do that real quick. Usually it's not too busy at this intersection. A lot of times I can get up here and I can just come up, do a quick stop, go across, and come straight back down on the other side. We'll see what kind of traffic we are looking at here. And it doesn't look like there is a whole lot. So, yep. We can go right on out here. Across and back down the other side. This truck's really doing awesome. It's got a great ride. I feel comfortable in here for the most part. I mean, I am 6 foot tall, and I am having a little bit of an issue with getting the steering wheel back far enough. It doesn't quite come back as far as I would like it. But other than that, it actually feels pretty good. Trying to get my seating right, because when I relax my legs, when I've got the cruise on, then my knee is kind of pushing on the dash a little bit, or on this side piece. But, all right, we're gonna get on here. So here we go. We are up to speed. It was really good. All right, so 51.4 miles and 22.1 miles per gallon. Okay, so we're doing better, 2 miles per gallon better than what the average is supposed to be. Okay, we are gonna make the trip back, and as soon as we get off of the interstate, or we get ready to get off the interstate, I'll update you again on what our numbers look like. Okay, we're getting ready to exit the interstate now. We are at 64 miles driven and 21.6 miles per gallon. So we've even dropped farther than what we were when we got back onto the interstate. So we're coming up here. We're going to get off the interstate. We're going back into town. We're going to make a loop through this town, and then I will update you again once we complete that loop and get headed out onto the highway. All right, we've made that loop through town, and now we're back out on the highway. So far, made this a little bit bigger, 72.1 miles and 21.5 miles per gallon. So we're about a mile and a half per gallon over what the EPA says we're going to average. Doing really well. We're sitting kind of there in the middle, and that's kind of expected, really. That's where you think you would be at anyway. So we're making our trip to the next town, and I will update you as soon as we get there. Okay, we have entered town again, and this is our last town before we go to the gas station. So far, we're at 93.4 miles and 22.8 miles per gallon. So we did gain some out there on the highway, which makes sense. We are rated at 23 miles per gallon on the highway, and we have a wind kind of pushing us a little bit. So that makes sense that went up. But we're going to make a loop through this town, so we may see that go down just a little bit again, and then we're going to head out to the gas station. After the loop, I will update you what our numbers are, and then I'll get our final numbers at the gas station. Made the loop through town. We are headed back to the gas station now, and we are looking at 97.1 miles and 22.8 miles per gallon. So we're doing great here. Let's get back to the gas station, and I'll give you the final numbers, and then we'll fill up and we'll get the calculator out, and we'll see how close these numbers all are. All right, we're back at the gas station, guys. So 101 on our miles and 23 miles per gallon. That's what we're looking at. So let's go see. Let's get filled up and check our numbers and see how close we are. Okay, you saw it, 101 miles and 23 miles per gallon. So we actually, in 100 miles, drove what the highway, expected highway mileage would be. So 23 miles per gallon. So let's fill this up now, and we'll get the calculator out, and we'll check to see if 23 miles per gallon is the actual real number or not. Okay, let's get it filled up. Got any guesses? Put them down in the comments. All right, there we are, 4.236 gallons. All right, get our receipt. Did you guys put your guesses down in the comments of how many gallons we were going to put in? Because really, 4.23, I thought it was going to be way more than that. I was thinking like 6 to 7. So I was way off. Let's get these numbers. So we got 101 divided by 4.23 equals 23.8. 23.8 miles per gallon. So basically was off about a little over a half a mile per gallon, which is actually good because it's better to get more out of the truck than what it actually says. So at least you know that you're going to get a little bit more than what it says you're getting. So the 2024 Chevy Colorado Z71 real world mile per gallon average is going to be 23.8. All right, guys, if you haven't done it yet, go down and hit that subscribe button if you would. It really helps me get more vehicles like this to bring these tests to you. Then click on the full review of this Chevy Colorado, because you're going to want to watch that. If you already have watched it, click on the other video that YouTube thinks you're going to like. I think you're going to like them both, so I will see you in that next video.